So hey everyone, today I thought I'd show off my PS2 that I've been working on. What we've done is we've put a large hard drive, a terabyte hard drive, in the back of it. But because PS2s come with the network adapter for IDE drives, you have to make yourself an adapter. Well, you buy the adapter, but you have to modify it to make it fit into your PS2. So as you can see here, we've made this weird little bridge thing here with these IDE headers, and we've shortened the cable. So what we did is we got these from eBay, which are 80 pin, and IDE of course is 40 pin, and cut them in half to make this little adapter so it'll fit into my drive. We got the idea from psx-scene. I'll just show you where we found it from. So if you see here, it was this guy Pilgrim who came up with the idea on psx-scene, and he created an Imgur album of it with the adapter and how to do it all. So I'll put a link in the description for that. And I bought the parts from eBay, dead cheap. What was it, $5 for a pack of 5 of them. And we got the adapter from Amazon, also dead cheap, and comes with Prime shipping, which was quite handy. So once we've done all that and we've put it together, we can then put it in our PS2. But one thing to note with your PS2 is these were designed for 3.5 inch drives. Once you make this adapter, you add about an inch of thickness, and you can't fit a 3.5 inch drive in. You can only fit a 2.5 inch drive. So what happens with that is the board gets shorted out. So what I did is I used the instruction manual from the adapter, and that's just used in the drive bay, and it stops it from shorting out on the metal sheet. So we'll put it together, we'll boot it up, and I'll show you what we've got going. So back in a second. So we'll put this back into our PS2. And screw it in. Right, so that's with the network adapter back in place with our terabyte drive. As it's booting up, I'll just explain to you about free McBoot. Free McBoot is a softmod of it installed, you can see there. It's loaded on the memory card. There's a load of ways you can install free McBoot. If you've got a friend with a mod chip PS2, you can just burn the installer to a CDR and install it that way. You can do a disk swap with a retail PS2 game that you swap in for a backup PS2 game that's got U-Launch Elf on it. There's people on the psx-scene forums that'll install it for free for you, so if you want to visit there, they'll install it for you for free. You can buy a memory card on eBay. There's a load of ways. If you've got an action replay or a game chart, you can do it that way. You can do it with Swap Magic. So I'll put a link in the description of all the ways you can install Swap Magic on the memory card, free McBoot on the memory card. So I've got free McBoot on the memory card, and I've got it set to boot OPL, which you see here, it's booted OPL. Greatness never left. So basically, this is an ISO loader basically for the PS2. You see every game's got this cover image here. If you press R1, you can quick scroll through the menus to go through the games quicker, like so. I've put all what I think are the best PS2 games, and undubs when undubs are available. So like Persona 3 and 4 here will have Japanese audio, the Japanese voice acting with English subtitles, so you don't have to listen to the poor American dubs, English dubs. So yeah, I've got all my favourite games on here. Also, if I press right on my D-pad, let's put it that way, press right on the D-pad, you go through the menus. So if I press right here, I've got my apps menu. So to create an apps menu, you create a config file and you put it on the memory card in the OPL folder, and it's basically just a link to the name of the program and a link to its ELF, which you can see at the bottom right. So I've got an FTP client there, free McBoot config, HD checker, which will just check for bad sectors and stuff on the hard drive, HD loader, which was the first commercial version of a hard drive loader, which is no longer used. We use OPL these days. HDL server, that lets me copy a game over network again straight to the hard drive. You can put your hard drive in your PC to install games using a program called WinHiip, which I'll also put a link in the description for, but that's got a limit of 256 games. When you get to that amount of games, you can't install any more, but you can install more if you install it over the network using HDL server and HDL dumb. PS2 IRC, it's a very bare bones IRC client. You can hook in a USB keyboard, and you can connect to IRC and chat, and U-Launch Elf, which is the best file manager for the system. If we go right here, I've also got my favourite PS1 games that you can just boot straight away from the loader. So they've all got covers as well. To do PS1 games, you need a program called Pops, which you get from the Assembler Games forums. I'll put a link in the description for that as well, but I'll just show you here. This is Pop stuff. It's made by this game. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. Maybe Kraken, maybe with emphasis on the H. Kraken. Anyway, so yeah, you can download the latest version from here and all the tools. Cuter Pops for making the images. The latest revision here. Compatibility list, which is quite out of date from what I've seen. You can run games from USB internal hard drive, which I'm doing, or over the network using Samba. Tutorials and stuff here, so there's everything here for you to do it. In-game reset images and so on. So let's go back into OPL and we'll just test booting a game. So what game should we boot? We'll boot a Resident Evil. We'll do Resident Evil 4. So you put your game, you press X on it and it sets off loading. It takes a few seconds to load because it's a really large hard drive, and each game on the hard drive is stored as a partition, so it has to seat to that partition to load the game, so it takes a few seconds. We'll say no, we don't want to create a save file. Back when Capcom used to make good games.
Resident Evil
4. Right, so let's say you've been playing a game for a while, you got a bit bored of it and you want to play a different game. The system's got in-game reset, which we'll show you now. So I just set the reset going there. You press the top 4 buttons, L1, L2, R2, R1, R2, and then start and select, like that. And it'll bring you back to a predefined ELF that you set up. I've set the ELF to be Open PS2 Launcher, but you can set it to be anything. So when I reset, it goes straight back into the loader, and I can pick a different game I want to play, which is really handy. So we'll give it a second. While it's loading up, I'll just show you the other homebrew you can do. So this is where I got most of my homebrew from, PS2 hard drive applications. So that's where I got HD loader from, Open PS2 loader. The Open PS2 loader on this site is out of date. You're better off getting it from PS2 Home, and I recommend JJ's builds here. This is what I'm using, but you can use any of the builds or the official release. I'll put a link in the description for that. What else have we got? Ah yeah, so the cover art I get from this website as well. Under art, you just right click and save as, and they're all saved in the correct name, and you put them on a certain folder in your hard drive. I'll show you where you put them. Let's go back into Open PS2 loader. So if I go right and go to my homebrew menu and I launch Launch ELF, which is a file manager, I can show you where you stick your covers and stuff. So yeah, you can, if I press select here at configure, you can configure quick launch buttons. So these buttons will quick launch those different homebrew applications. So let's say just click OK on that. If we go into the file browser and we're going to the memory card, this apps folder here is where I'm storing all my ELFs, which are Linux homebrew files, PS2 homebrew files. And the OPL folder here has got my config files for OPL. So this this conf.elm.config file, that's where I've listed my PS1 games, so it can boot the PS1 games. The conf_apps.config, that's a list of all the homebrew, so it can load the homebrew. So let's browse to the hard drive, HDD 0. Again, it takes quite a while to initially launch the hard drive, browse the hard drive, because it's so big and it basically indexes the whole thing before it goes into it. So here we are in the hard drive. If we go to OPL here, so this is the folder created for OPL. You can store in here virtual memory cards, so you don't actually have to save your games on a memory card, you can store them in a file on the hard drive. But if we go into art, this is where we store all our covers, and our PS1 covers also. So you just download them from the website that we'll show you in a second, which I'll put in the description, and you just stick them on the hard drive here. The easiest way to do it is to put them on a USB stick, put it in the front of your PS2 and copy them over with OPL, with Launch ELF, sorry. So we'll go back, and we'll go back again. While you're in here, you can see the config for different games, themes for games, cheats for games, so you can use like action replay cheats, you just stick them in there, and virtual memory cards in there. In the apps folder I put shortcuts to my PS1 games so that OPL can launch the PS1 games. You basically create an elf of Pop Starter so it can launch it. And if we just go up again, this Pops folder here, which will take a few seconds to open up, but in this Pops partition, sorry, this is where we put our PS1 games. So again, the easiest way to do it is you convert them with the Q to Pops program I showed you a second ago, stick them on a USB stick and then copy them over. You can also copy them over via network as well. Let's jump back to OPL. So if we press square, we'll use the quick launch key and boot straight into OPL. And we'll just show you it booting, booting a PS1 game. So give it a second or two to load up. Graydon's never left. So back to the PS1 menu. A quick note about the PS1 covers. The OPL expects covers to be 140 pixels by 200 pixels, so like a DVD size aspect ratio, and PS1 covers were CD sized, like a square, not oblong. So what I did is I just made them DVD size, but the top and the bottom is just black, which blends into the theme, so it looks like it's a CD size cover, so it looks right. So you have to make them yourself, you can't get them off that website, so you just Google them, resize them to 140 by 140 and then extend them to 140 by 200. You can do it in Paint, dead simple. So we'll just give you an example of it booting. We'll boot Resi 2 here. These games again, it takes a few seconds to boot, to load up the partition, so we'll just wait for it. It don't like to sit on there. There we go. So I'll give it a few seconds. And there you go, straight booting. So we'll play this for a minute or two, and then I think that'll be our video. I love this game. It's like the only game I actually speedrun. I just speedrun it for fun. Although I do have some time to sit on speedrun.com.
Resident Evil 2.
I went to load game, I might have got your new game, but whatever. So yeah, the PS1 emulator here, it's also using virtual memory cards, so you don't need a PS1 memory card at all. Raccoon City. Boom, boom, boom. They were separated by an unescapable destiny. This was just the beginning of their worst nightmare. So the tactic with Resident Evil 2 speedrunning, by the way, is you basically don't fight anything. The zombies are really slow and you can just run around pretty much all of them. So yeah, that's the strategy. Right, we're not gonna keep playing, we're gonna reset it here. Again, top 4 buttons, start select. It brings you to IGR menu, you just say yeah you want to quit, like so. I've got this set to take me back to U-Launch Health, but I'm going to reset it later to take me back to OPL. So yeah, right, so that was a brief overview of the soft-modded PS2. That's all systems now in Gen 6, loaded from either hard drive or SD cards. I've got my Xbox and my PS2 loaded from a terabyte hard drive each. My Dreamcast, I've got 128GB SD card in it. And for GameCube, I load GameCube games from the Wii and the Wii U using the USB hard drive. So yeah, that's all 4 systems from Gen 6, loading games from either a hard drive or an SD card. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please rate and subscribe and leave a like, that always helps. And join us next time when we do something else cool. So bye everybody, thanks for watching.